Let's begin tonight's conversation. It concerns you, Bill, because when you were voting politicians, especially federal lawmakers, you sent them to Abuja, and this time around, they're talking about how much it will cost you and I, as citizens of Nigeria, to fund them. We're talking about cost of governance. So get a seat, a cup of coffee, because it's rained here in Lagos, and you might need it. On the floor of the Senate, one of their own, one of the 109 senators in the National Assembly said there isn't any need for 3 senators per state. And he also said there is no need for more than 3 members of the House of Representatives per state. It is Senator Okorocha. He's saying that this is a suggestion on way to cut the cost of governance or running government in Nigeria. Let me allow you to hear him for yourself.
What is the three senators per state doing that 1 senator per state cannot do? Hold it. Now, what are we doing in the National Assembly there that we have 360-something people? And each of these persons creates demand on the system. We must cut down on the cost of governance. What we need to have under the present ugly situation, which our constitution points out to us, is to have a senatorial representative, 1 per state, and senatorial 3 per federal constituency to reduce cut of distance.
So that's Senator Okorocha, former governor of Imo State, saying there is so much that is being spent on lawmakers. Well, in recent time, there's been agitation from Nigerians that the cost of running the National Assembly is humongous, and the fact that the Nigerian lawmakers are perhaps the highest earning lawmakers in the world. Last 2 years ago or so, Senator Shehu Sani came out to say that the monthly expenses of a senator is about 3.5 million naira, in addition to their monthly salaries of more than $2,000 US. And this is what the Constitution says. It's the Constitution that provides that there should be 3 senators. Let me read the portion of the Constitution. It's actually section 48 and 49 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which talks about the composition and staff of National Assembly. It says, the Senate shall consist of 3 senators from each state and 1 from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. 49 says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the House of Representatives shall consist of 316 members, representing constituencies of nearly equal population as far as possible, provided that no constituency shall fall within more than 1 state. So, in the light of this, shall we continue in running an expensive lawmaking arm of government and say that we do not have money? What is the sense in all of that? Let's get a perspective. Joining me, Honorable Johnson Agboyima, a former member of the House of Representatives from our Abuja studio, and here in our Lagos studio is a social commentator, Mr. Yinka Odumakin, and the spokesperson of Afenifere. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Let's begin with you, Mr. Odumakin. What do you make of Senator Okorocha's statement?
Well, I think let's leave the messenger, and look at the message. His message is very clear, and it's direct, and it's what we need at this moment. Because I don't think we are even talking about cost of governance in Nigeria. We are talking about cost of misgovernance. That we are spending the humongous amount we are spending, not only on lawmakers, the whole government apparatus, executive, legislature. Because if you are talking about legislature alone, we are missing the point. We have a Council of Ministers of 43 ministers. Look at Nigeria today. Ghana as a country today is better than Nigeria. The Ghanaian constitution says that not less than 10 or more than 19 ministers. Each of the ministers has a retinue of aides, guards. A minister has our 16 policemen. So when you look at...
But Nigeria is almost twice the size of Ghana.
But is Ghana better?
I'm not sure that Ghana is as has the multiplicity of ethnicity as Nigeria does.
What's it of Ghana today? What's it of Nigeria? The question we should ask ourselves is that what is the impact of governance on Nigerians? The truth of the matter today is that Even if there is no government in Nigeria today, it will make nothing, no difference in that of Nigerian people. What the government is doing is to be a burden on the people and developing poverty because of what we are spending the government. In the midst of all we are going through, there's no bill to reduce the allowances of legislators or those executives. All we are hearing now of late is to continue to tax the poverty of the Nigerian people. We are going to introduce tolls on roads that are death traps. There's a bill now to tax what you pay on DSTV, mobile data, and the rest of them. In all of this, there's no let us reduce 1 naira for what they are earning. Senate just came in and they said they're going to spend 5.5 billion naira on buying cars. And let me tell you this. If you go to Mumbai today, in India, there are 60,000 millionaires in dollars. A breakdown that those millionaires show you that most of those millionaires are in one business or the other. In the whole of Nigeria, we have only 12,300 millionaires in dollars. If you break it down, you find out that majority of these people are either in politics or those around them. So what we are doing is to use most of our resources to service politics and those in politics while people are wallowing in penury. If I want to say it, beyond governor, what Senator Okorocha is saying, we don't need a bicameral legislation. You need more than one arm. You need camera
of legislature.
Of course.
Okay, let's get a sense of this from at least someone who has been in Parliament, Honorable Johnson Agbonyima. You've had experience being in the National Assembly. Do we really need 3 senators per state? And perhaps some states have as much as 24 members of House of Representatives. A case it's Kano, Lagos State.
Well, thank you very much, Shehu, and good evening to all our viewers out there. If I may say that Senator Rochas Ewole Okorocha, the immediate past governor of Imo State, his statement, his response, his recommendation at the floor of the Senate after the Senate President's submission by saying that Nigeria economy, if we have to move forward, more diversify, that we need diversification in the area of agriculture, mineral sector, and the tourism aspect, especially our young ones today that are doing well, extremely well in the entertainment industry. But however this might be, I want to say that the Senate President was on point, very much on point. Of course, my brother, the Senator Okorocha's statement is very, very unpopular. Very, very unpopular. Our major problem in this country that we have failed to address, which I have always supported Mr. President, President Buhari, have stood firm to fight the menace of corruption. Corruption is our major problem. It's a cancer that has eaten us deeply. And if Mr. Senator Okorocha wanted to exhibit or to promote that, to make sure that we have one senator per state, he should have honorably resigned that, look, as an advocate of one senator per state, I hereby resign my position. So people just want to make statements just to, create an awareness. Please, for God's sake, this country has been bastardized by the past government. But today, there's the fear of the unknown about this corruption that Mr. President, the APC government is fighting. Even though if you see, when you fight corruption, corruption fight back at you. The bone of contention is not whether you have one senator. Nigerians, they are suffering. The youth, they need employment. They need work. Those who have graduated for years, they are still out there. So what we need to do, like the Senate President said, because I'm in agreement with what the Senate President said.
Let's take a breather, Honorable Agbonyima, for a moment. I'll allow you to land on that thought, at least from your experience, from what is being earned and the agitation of some Nigerians. You give us some more insight in comparison to what Senator Rochas Okorocha said. We'll take a moment on the program. I'll allow you to also hear more from Senator Okorocha during the break. And when we come back, we'll dissect it and look at what Nigeria really needs. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation. Senator Okorocha has raised some very crucial comments on the situation in the National Assembly. And he says, look, the cost of running government is high. Let's get back to the conversation with Honorable Johnson Agboyima from our Abuja studio, a former member of the House of Representatives, and Mr. Yinka Odumaki, the social commentator and the spokesperson of Afenifere. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let me allow you to land on that thought, Honorable Agboyima. Senator Okorocha said there is no need for 3 senators per state, that there isn't anything that 3 senators per state are doing that 1 senator per state cannot do. Do you agree?
Well, for me to be in agreement with him, I think I will ask him to resign his position as a senator, as an advocate of 1 senator per state. That will not show to the nation that he's really committed. Let us not just begin to make mockery of our democracy. The National Assembly today, without National Assembly, we were talking about democracy, we have not. And I will say, without fear or favor, that the Senate President's submission, his statement at the floor of that Senate, he was right on point that we must diversify the economy in the area of agriculture, mineral sector, and tourism. I want to say that again and again, and like I've said before in this forum, on this channel, television, that our major problem is corruption. So let everybody support what Mr. President Buhari is doing.
Honorable Agboyima, let me butt in quickly. Apologies. Let me ask you this. Let me take you to a terrain that you are familiar with. Honorable Agboyima, just a moment. In the United States, there are only 100 senators. 435 or so members of the lower chamber in the United States. They have 50 states. The United States is perhaps 10 or 15 times more than in size, more than Nigeria, in population, way more than Nigeria, in terms of budget, way more than Nigeria. That is a democracy that we are copying. Do we, at this moment, can Nigeria bear the burden of running government at that cost? That is the crucial question, isn't it, Honorable Johnson Agboyima?
Let me, for instance, go to my own state, for instance. We have 3 senatorial districts. We have Edo North, we have Edo Central, we have Edo South. In the Edo South, where I come from, we speak, our own language, Bini, and the Edo Central speak Ishan. Why Edo North have their own language, Afema, and all that. But having 1 senator represented them is not a crime, it's not a sin. So that of America is different. You cannot now try to compare United States to that of Nigeria because of ethnicity, our tribal, religion background. Let's look at the reality and the fact of what is happening in this nation. We always want to diversify to blackmail and to always want to fight the National Assembly. National Assembly, for God's sake, is not on trial. They are not the bond of contention. Those that you all should be fighting are those that have stolen our money. Billions of dollars stolen from this country. Look at the PID that we're talking about. Some group of Nigeria, Kaba, connive, just to derail the will of progress of Mr. President and Nigerian people. Let us be focused.
All right,
because we are missing the 8 ball.
Mr. Odumaki. Mr. Odumaki, do you agree with what Honorable Johnson Agboyima just said? That corruption is more of our problem, not the size of government or not the cost of running government?
Well, I think the size of government in Nigeria is part of the corruption. Corruption is not necessarily even just stealing money alone. Abuse of process is corruption. And I think it's missing the point, saying that Okorocha should go and resign first before we can talk about this. He doesn't have to resign to put a proposal on the table. Now, it's a shameful thing to say, but I must say it here. Go around our country today. The best infrastructure we have in this country today were built under the military. How many senators, how many reps did they have? It's a shameful thing to say. National Theatre, Tomiland Bridge, National Assembly, everywhere I go to. Most of the money we are spending on our democracy, we are using it to feed senators, reps, ministers, and the rest of them. It's too humongous. You cannot sustain it. Today, Nigeria is the global secretariat of poverty. Do you know that today there are 60 million Nigerians who are unbanked? 60 million.
who don't keep money in their
the bank at all. We don't have bank account. There are millions of Nigerians who don't touch money at all, who are living like animals. And in the midst of this, we now bring our budgets, and this is the kind of money we are committing on the legislature, on the executive. The cost of governance in Nigeria is among us, and it's breeding poverty in the lives of our people.
Mr. Odumaki,
Yes.
you know how well, you were at the conference.
Yes.
So, I mean, there were recommendations on how to fix some of these things. I know from my little knowledge of the law that for you to reduce the size of government, it's constitutional.
Oh, sure.
It's a provision of the Constitution.
Yes.
It's there, if my producer can put it on so that our viewers can see again, is there what the section 48 and 49 of the Constitution of the composition of the National Assembly is. Isn't it a difficult task to trim down on the cost of, the size of government?
It's very difficult. Because if my brother, who's a former lawmaker, is speaking this way, they can know what those who are there now will be saying. But the truth of the matter is that Nigeria is sinking. How do you justify what our public officials, and mind you, I'm not saying only legislators, because we always make this mistake or say only National Assembly. No, it's the cost of running government in here that's just too much, and we have to reduce it.
Mr. Maki, let me allow Honorable Johnson Agboyima's final thought on, in a few seconds, Honorable Agboyima, your final word on this one. Where do you think we need to cost? It's a lot of people believe that there's need to cut cost of governance. Where do you think we should start from?
Let me say this again, Shehu, that this is not about misplacement of priority when we begin to point finger at our National Assembly. Our bond of contention, our major problem is corruption. And let me say this again, that even at National Assembly, you have over 4,000 employees. Over 4,000 workers, staff working for National Assembly. Civil servant. So are you going to just get rid of those people that work for this nation? You're looking at only just the Senator 109, the Member House of Rep 360. Those are the people working at National Assembly. That is totally incorrect. You have over 4,000 that you have to pay their salary every month so that they can take care of their family. So the National Assembly should not be on trial.
Okay.
For God's sake.
We need to leave that.
My brother,
we're out of time. But I must sincerely thank you. It's good to see you again, Honorable Johnson Agboyima, former member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Yinka Odumakin. It's a pleasure also having you on the show tonight. Well, that's our show for this Friday. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. Bye-bye.